This episode is brought to you by Lash Boss Summit. Lash Boss Summit is 2 full days of education in Austin, Texas on April 26th and 27th. The lineup is incredible. There are so many talented and genuine people on stage, so you're going to walk away with a ton of lash artistry and business strategy after that weekend. Not only that, there is built-in networking opportunities so that you can make new friends and connections while you're here. Your ticket also includes breakfast and lunch on both days, and all of this could be under $500 if you use code LashBossRadio. Lash Boss Summit is regarded as being incredibly impactful but not overwhelming, in the sense of it was designed to reduce anxiety and just be very warm and welcoming and just deliver a ton of value. The lineup, agenda, and tickets can all be found on lashbosssummit.com. I'd really like to see you there. I promise you it will be more than worth it. Enjoy this episode, and I hope to see you in April. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lash Boss Radio. I'm Shelby, your host, and today I'm joined by Jamie Butler of Lashbase. You guys probably know him as Lashbase Jamie on TikTok and Instagram. This is his third time on the show, so I'm really excited to welcome him back on. Welcome back to the show, Jamie.
Thank you very much. And it's the first time that this is being filmed as well, I think. I think the other two have just involved me walking around on my phone in the warehouse, whereas this one, I'm on camera too.
I know, lots of changes, and lots of changes for Lashbase too. So can you talk about all of the new things that have gone on in the last couple years since you've been on?
Yeah, I can. I feel like this is going to be like an official announcement. So I've never actually said this publicly before. This is going to be the first time that I'm saying it. However, just as a quick bit of backstory to those that are watching that aren't familiar with the story of Lashbase, I'll try and give a very quick version. It's a family business, and it was started by my mum 15 years ago now as just a side hobby, because she had 3 boys, which is like me and my 2 brothers, and we had all left home. So she was like a stay-at-home mum all the way up until we had left home. She was like 42 or maybe 45 years old. Yeah, 45 years old. She decided to become a lash artist at 45 years old, part-time, to keep herself busy. And from 15 years ago, the fast version of the story is she went through your typical, she was a lash artist. She got popular as a lash artist. She became a trainer. She became popular as a trainer. She realized that products cost quite a lot, and she believed she could source better and for less, because at that point in time, products weirdly were very expensive compared to the quality that you got. If you can imagine loose bags of lashes 15 years ago. So she sourced her own products, and my dad built her this website that was like, if you see it now, it's the worst, but it did. And then it snowballed from there, and she got to a point where she needed to hire people. And like, I came on board 10 years ago now, because she said to me, Jamie, I don't know how to do Facebook. Can you do my Facebook page? And that's how I came on board. So this was all my mum's creation. Everything about it, the brand, just has like my mum in it. And so that's the story. And as of I can officially say now, my mum has retired from the business. So now it is a case that it's me and my 2 brothers that are running Lashbase. I'm lucky enough that because this happened, I know you know this, but this was 2 years ago. It happened. Originally, my mum retired, and the reason for that is because she was a stay-at-home mum. She loves looking after people and making people feel good and doing best for people, which is everything about what Lashbase is. And we've all had kids, so now she would rather be Nana than running a big empire. And she knows that, obviously, because there's me and my 2 brothers that are running the company and have been alongside her. She would much rather now retire, like she did technically 2 years ago, but we're only publicly saying it now because we were worried about like what people would think if we were to say this person that's put all of their passion and the Lashbase story was all about my mum. We were worried if we were to say that she had gone, then what would people think? Because I know it can be like a very touchy subject or a touchy industry. If imagine somebody gets a product they're less than happy with and they know that the person that started the business has just left, we were worried they would put two and two together and get five and go, well, this is because the owner's not. And then we decided we'll just move forward as we would. And I've lucky enough that I feel like I'd made a big enough name for myself in the industry anyway. And yeah, so now we've been for the last 2 years running Lashbase. My mum is retired fully, has no input. She's looks after the kids, which I love. And although she still takes her turn going to Lashbase in the US, but that's because we have a nice house with a pool, and she gets to go and have 3 weeks there every 9 weeks. So yeah, that's the pretty big news. So nobody knows that. And you either don't know my mum, so it didn't make a difference, or you do know my mum and or not maybe well enough personally, but you're probably thinking, oh wow, I didn't realize that happened 2 years ago.
Well, I think that's a heartwarming story and like ending to her journey in the industry, to pass it on to her children and then just get to live life and enjoy like peaceful, slow, present time with her grandchildren. It's beautiful.
Well, the thing is, you say peaceful and slow. That is not my mum. She
No.
is currently renovating her house, and while still having like, because each there's me and my two brothers, we've all got two children each, so she'll have six of them in a house that's being renovated. Someone that lives for the stress, like lives
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, that's my mum.
Oh no. Oh, well, I still think it's such a cool ending, I think. So, um you guys also are doing great in the US now. The last time you were on, you guys hadn't been able to fully open there. You had the location secured, but because of COVID and all of that, it threw off your timeline a little bit. So, how has it been, um, getting used to the US market and what's the biggest differences you've found? And yeah, just tell me about how it's going.
Yeah, so we originally were supposed to be launching, I think, in March 2020, which has become famous for a different reason now. We were in America. We were 3 days from opening Lashbase Inc., Lashbase in the US. We had our warehouse fully packed, full of inventory. We had staff. We had two members of staff we had hired because we were ready for it. And then the world shut down. We got I had to leave, obviously, to go back to the UK. At that point, we were thinking, it'll all blow over in 2 weeks. So we flew home and we thought we would be going back. Obviously, that wasn't the case. And the UK weren't actually allowed back into the US for about a year and a half after that. So we had a full warehouse of product, which luckily, um, well, at that point, always at every point we thought, well, it would only be a month away. It's only going to be another couple of weeks. It's because you never knew how long this whole thing was going to last, did we? We didn't know. So we kept on the staff. We were paying the staff for the year and a half because we kept thinking we were going to go back. Because we were renting our big warehouse that we had, was the total outgoings was $15,000 a month, and that was for nothing. The only good to come from it was that because we had perishables like adhesives and other liquids, the staff that we kept on could pack it up and send it back to the UK. So all of the perishables and products that could necessarily not be their best over time, we did send back, and they were sold in their normal time frame. So in terms of like the damage, we didn't really have any products that caused us problems when we finally opened. So yeah, in 2 years ago now, we've just had our second birthday, January 18th. We opened 2 years ago, and yeah, we've not looked back since. So we've grown massively. We're still growing. It's really, really hard when you consider we're the biggest professional lash brand in the UK, and we're a teeny tiny fish in the US. So like that difference of in England, we can say, oh look, I tell you what, why don't you just you buy this product and people trust us and know our brand so much that they go, I trust that's going to be great, and that it is, and then they buy it. Whereas in the US, where we're relatively unknown, that it's completely different. But to answer your question of like the differences I've noticed between the UK and the US in the lash industry, the differences are becoming more and more apparent. The gap is widening. It's two different, completely different worlds, and it blows my mind. The UK charge on average what works out at $50 for a full set, and then $30 for a fill. So you can see the money in the industry, because when you work out how it works for the UK lash artists, and I'm sure people from the UK are going to be watching this right now, when you work it out what they get paid, if you take away product costs, if you take away all of their insurances, if you take away their rent, their electric, their everything that they get, a lot of lash artists are living in a space where they would earn more money if they went and worked at just a retail store or a supermarket type thing. And that's the sad truth of where the UK is at. So what you get in the UK is you get a lot of lash artists that work from home, and it doesn't become this financial freedom that it could be. Whereas if you switch over to the US, where you've got higher prices, there is so many more big brands. There's so much more money in the industry. There's so many more like big and wonderful and like just amazing things that are going on in the US lash industry. For example, your lash conference, like we don't in the UK this year, because of the way things are going, we don't, I think there's one that I'm aware of in the UK, and it doesn't come anywhere near to what yours is in the US. So let alone some of the other events and stuff that are here in the US, there's just not, lash artists don't have the money to invest in that side of things, whereas in the US they definitely do. And then it shows in their level of education that they have, because they can invest in it. One of the things, and I posted this on, I think, my Instagram recently, where you've got two, like the extremes in the US are something else. If you compare the UK, you've got a level of skill in the UK where some people are about here. They probably could learn more, but they're not the worst. And then you've got people that are here that know quite a lot. They're quite well educated. In the US, you've got people that have been able to invest, and they're like these leaders in the industry. They're very well educated. They're pushing the industry forward. But in the US as well, I guess due to some of your laws in who's allowed to lash and not, you got people down here that some of the questions that we get asked, we think there is like, it's one of those where you want to say, can I please have your tweezers? You should not have tweezers. So the extremes in the US have been eye-opening. But the industry as a whole, like the chance for financial freedom, the chance to have this business that's, you've got staff members, like you don't have in the UK many salons that are like lash bars that just do lashes. You don't have that. You don't have many big training centers that are bringing in like lots of money and have lots of staff. It's very much a solo lash artist, a solo lash trainer teaching one or two people at a level for training in the UK costs less than a set of lashes in the US. So trying to get around in terms of marketing between those two industries is very hard, because we can do something in the UK that would go down well and work, or we could do something in the US that would go great, but that would not hit at all in the UK. So it's almost like we have to try and split our marketing efforts, and then also say to people in the US, don't look at our UK stuff, and people in the UK, don't look at our US stuff. But obviously on Instagram, you can't tell people where they should be looking and what accounts, especially with, like on my Instagram account, I've got 40% of my followers are from the UK, 40% are from the US. So it is an even amount of people watching me. So to try and like educate certain types of people, different cultures, different everything is very hard. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve for us having a business in both the UK and the US. But obviously, I love it. I love learning. I love like trying. To me, it's a game, and I've probably said that to you before. I love trying to figure out this game and score some points.
Can I ask what you think happened to the UK lash industry? Like, did it start out this way and just never get better, or did it start out how we are over here in the US and it just slowly started? People just started undercutting each other, type of thing. Was that a thing, or what happened?
Yeah, I would say more likely that second thing that you've just said. So again, back when my mum started, her prices were good. Her prices were probably she charged more back 15 years ago than anybody charges now. Like it's such a crazy thing. And in my opinion, what the biggest difference between the US and the UK and why this has happened to the UK is nobody like there isn't business education. You get taught how to apply a lash to a lash, but you don't get taught how to know your prices, how to price your services, to make sure you're earning money, how to so what happens is the cycle that happens in the UK is somebody becomes qualified in lash extensions. They then, because nobody's told them what to do, will go most of the time, let me look at my local area. They're all charging X amount. Because I'm new, I should charge maybe £5 or £10 less. I'll charge less because I'm new. Then they start doing their lashing, charging less. They will never raise their prices because they haven't been told how to raise their prices because they're now scared that if they raise their prices, they're going to lose the people that they've got. However, during this time, so they're here now with their low prices, the next people are coming into the industry and they go, let me look at the local area. Oh, yeah, this person here, I'm just going to go a bit cheaper than them. And you can see how over just the space of this like 10 to 15 years, we're just heading in like, so we've got, at Lashbase, we've got a few initiatives that we're planning to try and help out in the UK. And again, but probably by the time this episode comes out, we may have like announced something, but I'm not stupid. I know that just if Lashbase, because yes, we have great reach in the lash industry in the UK, just by saying everyone raise your prices, I know that that's easier said than done, but we're going to try. However, it's I'm also realistic. I'm not sure, and I welcome anybody to try and suggest a way in which the UK as a whole can raise the prices.
Yeah, I was just about to say something like you or someone needs to, like, even if it's very, like, free even, just some education in that area would be so helpful, because the way that my mind thinks is the opposite. Whenever I see every once in a while, like, I'm telling you, maybe I don't look at it enough, but every once in a while, I'll just check, like, "Oh, like, what are the people around us charging?" And if they're close to us, I'm like, "Oh, shoot, we need to be a little higher than that," because I consider us to constantly be improving and investing more into the client experience and all of that. So I'm like, well, if y'all are this, then we should be a little more. So hopefully we
That's
can.
it. That's the education that the UK lash industry needs as a whole, because that is what's missing. Yeah, so we're going to try. We're going to try, and that is a plan for the year for Lashbase to try and encourage people to do such a thing. Because
Yeah.
you are right. Even when you speak to lash artists and you say, "Look, think about it. When you go for a beauty treatment, who do you pick? Do you just pick the cheapest person?" And people don't
Right.
like there's a portion of people that will always pick the cheapest, but there's a portion people people like me. I like to pick the most expensive because then I think I'm getting the, but like that's what I do. So
Yeah.
uh there are people out there that if they knew that they got taught how to price and psychology behind pricing and things like that, if they understood that, they could just raise their prices, even
Yeah.
even if it was just by like 10% just to start. Like they don't have to double their prices, but at the same time, everyone always says the industry's too saturated in my area. If I raise my prices, I'll lose my clients, and I just wish people knew that wasn't the case if you do it right.
Yeah. I can understand that feeling, like, I understand that, but I've raised my prices several times since I started 13 years ago, and every time I remember feeling like, "Oh my gosh, like, is this gonna be the time when I lose all my clients?" And every single time it was, I think I could count on one hand people that I didn't see. Um, but yeah, it didn't happen overnight. The prices go from this to this, but every once in a while I'd raise it like $5, $10 and yeah, and people aren't going to say, "Oh, what? Like you think you should be charging more?" Absolutely not. They're like, "Yeah, this makes sense. Like you're doing a great job and I can see you're investing more into your education, whatever that is." And um yeah, most people stay.
Thing is, time and time again, when I speak to people and you can manage to one by one, you can convince one person to raise their prices. And so far, every single time that's happened, their clients say, "Good on you. You should have done this a long time ago."
Yep.
Rather than anything else. And obviously, if anybody's going to leave you because you've increased your prices by a small amount, they're not the clients for you. They're not how you build your business sustainably. Of people that only want the cheapest thing. And I've tried to explain to people that if they, and this is kind of another difference between the UK and the US, maybe not so much as this price difference, but a lot of people in the UK don't necessarily focus on the experience that they're offering. So therefore, how do you because you can add so much value in just the experience that somebody gets when they have lashes. Whereas a lot of the time, like I said, there in the UK, we're in a position where we're already on our knees. People are lashing from a second bedroom in their apartment, and they're wearing their pajamas. Someone turns up wearing their pajamas. Like it's not an experience that you would expect when you go to a spa or an actual salon or anything like that. And if people could just improve the experience,
Yep.
you can charge what you want. And again, just to, I know I've already mentioned I like spending more on things. It's exactly the same. Like, I know people are different. Me and my brother talk about haircuts, for example. I have the most basic haircut, basic guy haircut you could have. However, the place I go gives me a coffee. I get a head massage, and then they cut my hair, and they charge me 3 times what my brother pays for a very similar haircut. But I love the experience. I like the people there. Like, I love the whole thing. I love the online booking system where you get like, just everything. You
Yep.
can improve an experience, which makes it worth that money to people.
Yep.
You shouldn't build your clientele from who wants to pay the least. Like, that is just not the way to go.
Exactly, and there's such, low cost things you can do to improve it, like adding a little snack cart or offering a drink or having, like, a heated pillow or something like that. If you have a towel warmer, you don't even need to fill it with hot water. There's, like, hot water pillows, but, you can even just have these, I was talking about this in another episode, but they have these, like, neck wraps that they have beads in it, and you can make it either cold or warm, and just having that, and I don't know, there's a lot of ways I'm sure we could talk about that forever, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I get that. I have the same thing with, my dentist, so I go somewhere that charges me double what most places charge, and it's because they have, like, a heated thing and then also, like, a hand and arm massage, like, while you're getting your teeth cleaned. It's really nice, so,
It's good.
yeah.
And again, for me, like, the place that I go, I walk in and it smells nice. Like, there's a smell. You feel like you're in, like, just a simple thing like that.
Yes.
Get a nice smell in. Like, it's
Yep.
keep it tidy, be presentable. It's
The
like you said,
music.
the music, yeah, you could talk about it for ages and ages, but yeah, that's one of our plans at Lashbase this year, for the UK specifically. Just to give you, and anybody listening that's from the UK that might want to know this about Lashbase, our plan for the year is not financial growth. Our plan for the year is to become more included in the community as a whole, and to also help lash artists raise their prices and improve the services they offer. Because we believe if we can achieve that this year, we don't care whether we slightly grow, slightly decline in that way. We know that the industry will be in a better place a year later, which is only going to be good for us. So our aim is to help as many people this year without focusing on the financial side of it. Which is that sounds like a load of, like, I'm just being airy fairy, but honestly, that is, we had a year last year where we wanted to grow. We achieved our goals. This year, we are happy where we're at. We just need to improve the industry, and that's the plan
It's so cool.
in the
Awesome.
UK. The US is definitely to grow financially.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to ask because it looks like you're always like in a meeting or in an airplane or in this juggling act of you're a dad and a husband and Lashbase is in two different continents. So I'd like to ask about time management and how you find a flow and like a harmony to all the things that you have to do.
I think in terms of like in short, I guess you're referring to like work-life balance as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but everyone hates that term, so I didn't wanna say that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. For me, I think it's about communication 100%. Like one of the best things about the relationships, the strong relationships I have in my life, they're built on good communication. So and then sorry, second to that is certain sacrifices. So I've got a lot going on at all times, but I know the life that I have and the life that my family have, that doesn't come working passively and just it all happens. You have to put in the hours. In terms of going from different countries, I'm lucky enough that I'm with my brothers, and again, our communication's so strong that we manage that. Employing good people that want to come along on the journey as well is a key thing, but it's really hard if people have to. And again, I know I sound like an old man because I'm getting older, but you have to understand what it is you really want from life. Do you want to be this high flying big shot that's like what many people think, I'm the big boss CEO earning X, Y, and Z or whatever, or is it more important to you to make sure that yes, you have financial freedom, but you want a family, you want to be at home, you want to be like, there's no right or wrong with it. It's just understanding what it is you want. Like, for example, obviously, I'm doing this right now, and I don't know whether I'm lucky or not, but in England here, I'm actually getting away with not having to do bedtime for the kids. So that's kind of a good thing. But at the same time, I'm missing bedtime for the kids because we're obviously having a conversation. So, uh, yeah, I guess that is it. It's that it's understanding that sacrifice has to happen to do these things that you want to do. Yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, and just communication with everybody involved is vital.
And do you have any, like, how do you manage your calendar? Do you just do it via Google? Do you have Google Calendar or, like,
Yeah,
any
yeah.
other apps like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've got we use Google Calendar, but the rota for who's going to the US is done at the beginning of a year for the whole year, so we know who's coming and going. And we've got to a point in the US. We've been there for 2 years. Our target was to do this in 1 year, but it never works out like that. We've got to this point over 2 years later now, in which I'll be heading out to the US for in April, which will include being at Lash Boss Summit, and then I'll be heading out again in June because of the Orlando premiere show. Because of that, and then the only other time we'll be going to LashCon. So this year, I'm not. I'm going to be out in America half as much as I was last year, because I knew last year we all needed to be doing it. We needed to be putting in that time. So the only difference that we've done is that we originally launched the business in the US in just outside of Atlanta in Georgia. And our reasons for picking that location was 100% business related because of where the major international airport was, various taxes, the warehouse that we could get, just everything was all just like, let's make this business work. However, after being like shut down for 2 years because of COVID, by the time we finally did open in Georgia, we got to a point where we were 3 years into our lease that we had, and the landlord said, "Look, the rent will be going up, or you are welcome to leave." And at that point was when we were like, "Look, we know that this business is working. we probably thought too hard with our heads and not with our hearts in what we want to do. We've all got children. We all love, like, us. We're a big family unit. We love being with family, and that was the reason why at that moment then we decided, because we're Brits, that we would move everything to Orlando in Florida, because my family love Disney, love everything like that. So now that we're in Orlando, for example, in April, when I go out in a month's time, my wife and kids are coming with me, and my mum will already be out there, so she'll be working, but she's going to come to the parks with us. So I'm going to have a bit of time off. Then my mum, wife, and kids will all fly home, and then I'll stay out for my 3 weeks, which obviously includes doing Lash Boss Summit. So we now have this. I hate being like that guy, but we have all created the perfect lives for ourselves. Like, we get to travel the world. I still get to be with my wife and kids as much as I need to be. I still get to escape my wife and kids as much as I need to, and everything. Like, I hate it because I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but I just feel like I've put so much effort into creating my own life, my own world, my own everything. It wasn't like, let's try and do what we should be doing. It's, you should just create what you want for yourself. And we've got to the point where, yeah, I feel so lucky to have achieved that so far.
Out of curiosity, because you fly a lot, do you have any tips for a business owner like who's traveling, just about how to manage with jet lag and still getting deadlines done and everything? Do you try to not work whenever you're on the plane and just sleep? Like, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, there's like two things, and it's kind of sad, but it's kind of, I love it. Like, I absolutely like business and what I do, marketing and like every single thing I do in my life. I love it. So it's not like, I don't feel like, um, if I think, no, look, I'm not going to work, which at times, sometimes I might want to watch a movie. I might want to sit and watch Netflix. I'll be doing something with the family. Like, that's fine. But like, during the traveling, I love still working while I'm traveling. But the main thing that happened to us, and again, I'm very grateful to be in the position to be able to do so, is the moment we decided to start flying like first class business, like
Yeah.
the seats that go into beds, that made travel so much easier. Like, there was a period last year when I spoke at an event in Melbourne, Australia. Then we flew from there to Singapore because the Cosmoprof exhibit thing was on in Singapore that year, not Hong Kong. And then from there we flew to a different country and then back to the UK. So it was technically a round the world trip in under a week in multiple different time zones. But just because you could catch up on your sleep on an aeroplane, we somehow managed to, every time we were in a certain place, we felt a little more fresh. So the only time I get a bit of trouble is coming back from the US. We always come back at a weekend, so you always get one day to sort of like chill out, and then maybe for a few days later that week you're a bit tired. But I wouldn't say traveling for business, when you're enjoying what you're doing and when you do it the way that I do it, I would never like to be that person that takes any of it for granted. I make sure every time I get on an aeroplane, I think, I'm the luckiest person in the world. This is just unbelievable, isn't it? It's cool. It's a good feeling. I would never want to be that person that's like expects, or just that's the way it should be, like that type of thing. So I don't know. It sounds cheesy, but I'm so grateful for the life that I have, that just keeps me going. The thought that if ever I have a thought cross my mind that I'm like, oh, I'm a bit tired, I don't want to do this, I obviously think a million other people would trade places with you right now in an instant. Like, why are you feeling the way you're feeling, sort of thing. And that's very quick to think, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Cool. I was just wondering because for personal reasons, and also I'm sure other people are interested in what it's like to have an empire and get to travel the world and stuff. So something that is going on in the US right now is that people are actually starting to partner up with bigger brands and work for bigger brands instead of saying, hey, I'm going to start my own lash product line. Is the same thing happening over in the UK? And could you speak to that as like being an owner of a brand? What does it take for an artist to potentially work somewhere like Lashbase?
Yeah, like this is going to sound like it's a massive plug, and I swear on my children's life, this not a plug in any way. The first time that I really considered this, because like I've already explained, the UK is a different industry to the US, was at Lash Boss Summit last year, when you had the panel and it was talking about partnering up. And obviously some of the conversations that were said then made me really think about it and look into it. So because of that moment, what's fast forward to now, what's happened at Lashbase, and I think by the time this comes out, this would already be a public thing. If not, again, here's some more breaking news. We have actually now taken on 2 lash artists in the UK lash industry to work with us and work for us, as people that are like brand identity executives that will work alongside us. They'll come and work here. They'll work remote quite a lot of the time. But it's as far as I'm aware, this is the first instance of this in the UK. And it came about, I feel like it's going to become a bigger thing in the UK. And I feel like the way that the industry is maturing, it's already happening in the US. Again, I don't know. Oh, it has like people being heads of education. Like I know at Lashbox LA, they've just taken on Nikki from originally the Lash platform, and they have obviously had Tress working there for a long time, and so have you got PLA that have got Ashley working for them. And Ashley, if you're watching this, Lashbase, I'll have you when you're done with PLA. And and it's happening a lot in the US, and I see, and it's now happened in the UK, and I see it happen. It's going to happen more. The industry's maturing. The big brands are getting bigger and stronger. Like sounds funny, like a real business, like they're real big things, and they need, and I'm experiencing this in the UK, you need lash artists and people that are passionate and driven about the industry to help you grow and run your lash business. We got to a point in the US, like I said, with my mum retiring, who was like the fountain of knowledge for lashes. I like to think I know like plenty. And we have ambassadors and people that we talk to and we can get information from. But we've got 30 plus members of staff now, 10 people in the marketing team, and they're marketers. They're not lash artists. So they can learn and they can try to get to grips with everything, which we put them through some like form of training so that they know about products and they know where to look for educational content. And like I said, we can get an ambassador come in to film with us. So we have a lash artist to show stuff. But in terms of pushing the company forward, giving industry insights, giving opinions, and actually helping form and transform lash brands, it requires lash artists. So that's why we've taken on 2 at the moment. My plan for this year is to have 5 people working, lash artists that come on board, and who knows where it could go for them. So I think for me, and the way it worked and will work for me is we're working with people that fit our brand, that are same values, same morals, just everything about them fits in with our brand, and we want to be associated with them as much as they want to be associated with us. And I promise you, anyone listening to this, if you think you fit with a brand, ask them, speak to them. It's not just going to happen. You have to ask. You have to go in, get in their face, and that's sort of what happened with us. We became aware of people. Then you start talking to them, and then you build a relationship, and then before you know it, an opportunity will come up, and then I just see it being such a big part of our lash industry going forward, which I'm really excited about, because again, it was only last year. I had not considered it. I always in my head thought, well, obviously the process for lash artists most of the time is start from the bottom, get good, maybe become an educator. Maybe if you become known a little bit, then bring out your own products, and then that's that. But the way I see the future of the lash industry is going to be partnering with lash brands, working for lash brands, and putting yourself into a lash brand and taking that lash brand further because of you.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited about it. Like, and again, I said to you before we were filming, I'm only getting older. I like my kids are getting older. My wife wants more kids. You know, like I would love it if there were people that could just come and take Lashbase that have the same views and feelings and everything about Lashbase and take it and become something. Make it something more. Like it's I can see it so clearly now. It's such a vision that I've had that was a seed that was planted at Lash Boss Summit last year. Like legitimately.
Crazy. Well,
Mm.
yeah, I do think it's a great idea for lash artists to consider this instead of like thinking you have to reinvent the wheel and come out with yet another product line. Um, I also do want to ask how excited you are that you're going to be emceeing again. You're going to be hosting again 2 years in a row for Lash Boss.
I honestly, it's the thing I'm looking forward to most this year. Last year's event was such a fun time, and this year already looks like it's going to be like bigger and better. And the I'm just grateful to be able to be part of it. Like I want to see everybody that's speaking as much. You've basically just given me a free ticket, and because of my ego, I get to go and stand on stage every now and again and like tell some bad jokes. That's basically what it is. But the people that are coming and speaking at the event are all people that I look up to. And one of the differences from your event to others, and that's not to say any other is bad, I just mean the difference in your event is you seem to have this unique way of picking relevant people in the lash industry of right now, the people that are doing really well, the people that are good people as well. Like it, that the whole vibe of it is just exactly what anybody that is in the industry and wants to be something or grow or learn or anything, it's the environment to do it. Like the people that you've got every time you were announcing people, because I know again I messaged you and I was like, are there any more to announce? And then there's is it 20 plus speakers that you've
Hmm.
got, and every time I kept seeing it I was like, yes, I'm so excited to see that person. Yes, that's amazing. Like even just off the top of my head, like you guys, have you got let's just imagine if I've got this wrong now, have you got Maddie?
Yeah.
Like honestly, I want to, and I DM'd her this, and you know, like you DM someone saying something really nice, and I imagine it comes across as, "Hi, I'm a creepy guy, and I'm just saying this to somehow network with you." But I had to, like, I'm one of these believers where if you've got something nice to say, like tell them, because
Yeah.
people love saying bad things, don't they? Like, but if you've got something nice, say something nice, and I need to talk to her because she has obviously was well known, well loved, so good at what she does, and then has just executed this product brand launch that has just like, honestly, I just sit thinking this is amazing. This is you have this is just perfect. This is so good. She deserves it all, and Elliot, they deserve it all. Just everything is just, yeah. So
I
I'm
thought of you when I saw her launch. I thought of you because I'm like, what a good storyteller she is. Like,
mm,
but that's how you were to like in my head in the beginning, like when no one else was doing that. No one else was storytelling the way that you did. And so I was like, I bet you like they would see eye to eye or something. So it's funny that you say that. But yeah.
yeah, we I think we met very briefly at LashCon. I definitely remember meeting Elliot. But apart from that one DM of me being like, I can't wait to meet you, you're the best, like that's the only way that we talk. But I talk about Lightheart in the office like all the time because yes, the personal brand she built, her level of skill and ability, everything that Elliot does as well, the quality of it, just the product launch, the PR stuff, the just everything. Like if anybody wanted to know how to launch a brand, like that was exactly what you were supposed to do. And it
Yeah.
sounds funny. It sounds funny to say because I was going, look how amazing. If you want to learn how to launch a brand, that's how you do it. Build a personal brand for 2 years solid, and then wait for everybody to love you, then bring out products.
Hmm. Hmm.
But a lot of people obviously bring out products before the 2 years of hard work, like the and on top of that, like the intention behind it, her intentions, their intention. I keep saying like it's Maddie. It's like both of them. I know they're a team. But yeah, looking forward to meeting her. And that's again, like you said, we've talked about how in the US when we first were starting, it was such a story. Everything that was going on, we were documenting it, we were showing it. We had so many ups and downs, and then you feel that community with you. You feel like, and then the people that message that you've helped and that you've done, like everything just feels so great. And then again, with the US where Lashbase Inc.'s at right now, we're growing very steady. However, I feel like we're not telling our stories like we have done. And just to give you just an excuse, because again, we talk in the office and I'm like, this is an excuse. We're making excuses. It's like we put 80% of our effort into the UK and 20% into growing Lashbase Inc. Now, who in their right mind thinks they're going to grow some massive multi-million-dollar business with 20% effort?
Right.
So we're almost like we do a lot of work and thinking for the UK, and then some of it goes over to the US. So seeing Lightheart has inspired me to do what I know is right, but I still just can't. I can't just say how amazing they did with what they're doing.
Agreed completely. Yeah, I'm so excited to see her on stage and everything too. I do want to say quickly before we go, last year, whenever the close of Summit came about, I got on stage and I'm like, thank you,
Yeah.
this person, that person, thank you, attendees, sponsors, speakers, and I forgot to thank you, and I just about died. Like, I felt terrible. Like, I thought about it for such a long time after that too. So I'm so sorry, but you've got to know, like, I was so grateful for you, and I think that it would have not been the same if you weren't the host.
Oh, I appreciate it, but again, like I said, it's not actually anything to do with me, your event. I'm the lucky one that gets to introduce all of these people. So I didn't even really think about it at all. And I was more happy that you made a reel specifically for me after it.
Tried to make up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Anyway, well, thank you for coming back on the show, talking with me, and sharing all of these nuggets of wisdom.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you all so much for listening. I will be back next Tuesday with the next episode.